Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Judy Trisha, and I'm still getting used to this, so uploading is a little interesting for me. I hope that you enjoyed this video that I've recorded, and please like, share, comment below, and follow me on my social handles, Instagram and Twitter at Judy Trisha, and I will leave it in the description below. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and yeah, let's get into it. Guys, I'm back with another video, and I'm going to talk about a couple things that I wish that I knew before I went into breastfeeding. Not that breastfeeding is bad or anything like that, but I just wish that people told me the whole truth about breastfeeding and not having to find out along the way. The first thing I want to mention is, just because I'm doing it right does not mean that it's not painful. Here's what I mean by that. When you first start breastfeeding, it's painful, and it can be painful because baby's not latching on correctly, or it can be painful just because it's in your head already that it's gonna hurt. So the anxiety and you anticipating it coming up is just, you already feel like it's gonna be painful. What I mean by just because you doing it right doesn't mean it's not painful. So after like 3 weeks that I had Juju, it's like she latched on properly, because you know they show you how if she did not latch on properly. Well, first of all, if she did not latch on properly, you'll feel it. And second of all, when you take your nipple out of her mouth, it's supposed to be round. When it's round, that means that she latched on perfectly fine and everything was great. But if it's like flattened, like a little, I don't even know how to, if it's not round and it's flattened a little bit, that means that she was on your she wasn't latched on properly, and that's what could hurt your nipple, because your nipple is so sensitive. But after 3 weeks of breastfeeding and actually getting it under control, she was latching on properly. Because you know how, because they tell you as soon as you feel like she ain't on right, I put that little pinky in there and pop it right out her mouth. She'll be latched on perfectly because the nipple will be perfectly round. But man, when I tell you, she would be because she's on the areola area, and her gums, for some reason, the gums are strong. So even though I was doing it right in my brain, because I could still feel a little pinch pain, I used to think that, oh no, she's not latched on properly, but she actually is. But it was still painful. So even though she's latched on properly, even though I'm doing it right, it could still have a little pain. So that's one thing I wish I knew, because I really thought that I wasn't doing it correctly. The second thing would be that breastfeeding is a 24-hour job. Now, at one point on my Instagram a while back, I had made a video that I'm literally a slave to my baby. And I feel that way. I still do, not as much anymore, but I still feel that way, because you're feeding your child on demand. So that means if you're making something, if you're sleeping, if you're cooking, if you're cleaning, whatever you're doing, as soon as she's hungry, you gotta stop what you're doing and you gotta get into breastfeeding her. That I did not know that, okay? Because my first child, I have formula. I did not breastfeed that long. I only breastfed for 3 weeks, and it wasn't going right because she didn't latch on properly, and my nipples was like chewed up and all types of trauma there, that I was like, forget this breastfeeding thing, and I bottle fed. And the thing about bottle feeding, formula feeding, or anything, or whatever, anybody can help you. When you're breastfeeding, you're the milk supply. People can't help you unless you pump. So the first couple weeks, I felt like I was a slave, because I was trying to build up my milk supply before pumping and stuff like that. Because right now you can say I'm more exclusively breastfeeding, but exclusively pumping, but I still breastfeed a little bit, but I'm mostly exclusively pumping. So I wish I knew that, or whatever, that it would be a 24-hour job, and literally 24 hours, nothing else matters but that baby. The third thing I wish I knew is that I really wish I knew about mastitis and clogged ducts. Like, clogged ducts is bad, but I really wish I knew about mastitis, because nobody told me that. Well, for me, no one told me. I'm Haitian, so Haitians don't know how to. Well, my mom, I'm not gonna say Haitians. My mom is one of those Haitians that's like, just do it, and she didn't talk about none of the pains or nothing like that. But sometimes she'll be like, oh, you know, you could get a fever if you don't let the baby eat properly and blah blah blah. You know, you could get a fever. No, that's all she said. Mastitis is not just a fever thing. Okay, I didn't get the fever, but I got the chills. I was freezing. My bones were hurting. My boobs was in pain. Okay, rocked, pain, heavy, felt like somebody ran over my boob or something. It was painful. And then, like, you still have to breastfeed your baby. And imagining your boobs is so engorged and hard and stuff like that, and you still have to breastfeed. And when the baby latch on, even if she latched on properly, it feels like somebody just put a knife, okay? A knife. I felt like somebody just cut my boob, okay? Because that was not good. So I wish I knew about mastitis and everything about it and how you gonna get it, so I could be mentally prepared of what that would be like, because yeah, I wasn't prepared for that. And another thing is, I wish somebody could tell me, don't stress about my milk supply. Like, people, I'm not gonna say I wish somebody tell me. One of my friends told me not to stress about it, but it's nothing that's more frustrating when you're your only child's milk supply and you feel like you're not feeding your child enough because you can't see how much you're really producing. You can't see how much the baby's really eating because it's coming from your breast and the baby's there. And they'll like tell you, oh, you're supposed to do 20 minutes on this boob, 20 minutes on that one. Like, but then the thing is, I was doing that, and as soon as I took my daughter off my boob, thinking she was done, because, you know, she was here for 20 minutes, then she was here for 40 minutes or an hour, I'm just like, oh, okay, well, you're full. She'll fall asleep. But no, 10 minutes later, she'll wake up crying like she ain't eat nothing. So that's why I kind of went over to the pumping side, because I could see that she's actually drinking 4 ounces or 3 ounces of milk and that she's satisfied and things like that. But yeah, and so I was stressing out about it, even though they tell you not to stress about it, but you're gonna stress about it, and I really stressed about it. So the next thing I would like to say I wish I knew is the first 6 weeks, especially the first 2 to 3 weeks after you give birth and you're breastfeeding. Those first couple weeks are hell, because you don't really know exactly what you're doing. You could get all the teaching in the world, but once you actually have to perform the act of breastfeeding and dealing with it, is literally a mind game, because those first 2 to 3 weeks, you're learning yourself, you're learning the baby's learning you, and you're learning both of you guys working together. So it's like an intertwined thing. So it was really a difficult process. And to be honest, because I was breastfeeding, thank God for mothers, because I was breastfeeding, I was at my mom's house for like, after I gave birth, right after I gave birth, I went straight to my mom's house, and I was there for like maybe 3 to 5 days or something like that. I don't recall exactly how many days. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go home because I need to go home. I need to be with my family. I need to be with my, you know, in the comfort of my own house. Let me tell y'all, I went back to my mom's house as soon as literally, it felt like as soon as I got to my house, I went right back to my mom's house, because it was like 4 days later after I got home, I went right back to my mom's house because I needed help. My husband's at work all day pretty much. and my kids at school for God knows 8 hours out the day, well, however long school is, and then I'm by myself. Now when I went home, because you're still trying to learn, and then you breastfeeding, and like I said, it's 24-hour job, I barely have time to eat, because at this time baby's still new, and she will sleep at my boob, because your baby get really restless because it's working really hard. So baby's still at my boob and doing all this other stuff. So she was falling asleep, and I'm thinking she's good, but as soon as I lay her down, she wasn't. So it was a day where, like, literally I didn't eat until 6 p.m. I was up since the night before, you know, night feedings and everything, and I did not eat till 6 p.m. And at this point, I'm breastfeeding, so if I'm not eating, I'm not really producing as much as I should, and I don't feel like it has enough nutrients. So I was like, you know what, I need help, and I'm not afraid to ask for it. So I ran back to my mom's house. I packed everything up and I went right back, and I stayed there for a good 2.5 weeks. And so I really, like, those first couple weeks are really bad, because you're learning each other, and the nipples, and, you know, all of that stuff, and nipple cream, you gotta take care of your nipples. And the thing that's crazy is that for your nipples to heal while the baby's chewing it up, the baby's saliva is what's gonna heal. It's what's gonna heal you. So it was a process, but look, I got through it, and I'm doing way better now. The other thing I wish I knew is to always have a pump handy. So that's how I got mastitis in the first place, because I didn't have my pump with me while I was out for a few hours. Matter of fact, not even a few hours, for a couple hours. And so always have a pump handy. I wish I knew that. I wish somebody told me that I need to on-the-go pump or something, because I would never have gotten mastitis if I had my pump ready. Another thing is, you're always hungry. As they say, when you breastfeed, you lose a lot of, you lose weight because you're burning calories. I think I read somewhere that you burn at least 600 calories a day through breastfeeding or something like that. So because you're burning calories, you're always eating. So you're eating your regular meals, you're snacking while you're pumping, you're drinking, you know, you're doing all this other stuff. You're drinking a lot of water because you need to produce. So because you're drinking a lot of water, you're using the bathroom more, you're always hungry. And listen, at this point, I be feeling like I eat a whole house, because I'll eat my meals, I'll drink my juices, I'll drink smoothies, and I'll eat oats and granola bars, all types of stuff. And then usually I did not used to finish certain type of meals. Like I used to have leftovers. Now I'm eating all my meals, because literally I'm always hungry. So you're always hungry. You always have to have snacks in your car, in your purse, everywhere, because you never know when that hunger gonna strike. But yeah, and you're always tired. Mind you, you're already always tired because you've given birth to your child, and you're exhausted, and you're staying up late. You gotta take care of your baby, getting through the process and everything. But even when you're well rested, because you're breastfeeding and your body's going through so much, you're always tired, you're always sleepy. But the thing is, you're supposed to rest while the baby's sleeping. And I'm really bad with this. Well, like, you're supposed to be resting while the baby's resting, but I be like, in my head, it's like I have so much I need to do. What is sleep? But to be honest, take my advice, rest while your baby's sleeping. Even though your house may look like a pigsty, but your excuse is you just had a baby and you need to sleep. And don't be afraid to ask for help, and all this stuff. Like, I really wish I knew mastitis. Learn about it. If you're gonna have a baby and you plan to breastfeed, go learn about mastitis right now, because it's no joke. And yeah, so those are the things that I wish I knew about breastfeeding. The real truth that I wish I knew, because all the other stuff about, yes, it's good for your baby, and you know, and you're not really spending money on formula and stuff like that. All the things are pluses, but I really wish I knew the bad side. Well, it's not the bad side, but cons, I would say the cons of breastfeeding instead of the pros. Even though the pros are really strong, but I'm the type of person, I want to know both sides of the situation before I get into the thing. And that's why I had to really do mind over matter at this point. I had to keep breastfeeding my child because listen, formula is too expensive. And I seen a post about somebody buying formula because with my first baby I had received WIC, and this time there's no WIC. So formula is too expensive, and you're paying. Babies eat a lot, especially when it's formulas when they're little. So it's just like, I don't have $200 to spend on 9 cans of formula a month when I have milk, when I'm producing milk for free with my own body. So yeah, so these are the things that I really wish somebody told me in detail about breastfeeding. Like, I did a little research, but it's like it wasn't much or whatever, because like everybody was just hyping me up about breastfeeding so good that I didn't even think about the bad part of breastfeeding. So I wish somebody had told me about that. And because they was telling me how it was so good, I didn't really research the bads, you know? Like, it's like it didn't come to mind. And plus, I really wasn't thinking about it because I was in school and I was working and stuff like that. So those things, like, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna breastfeed. So those things I didn't really think about. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in another one. Bye.